was interesting last night, too, because Romney finally called him out on one of the China things that Obama keeps on talking about. And they're trying to pin him into this being this outsourcer and this Chinese apologist.
Hang on just a second. On that, Jeffy, would you call upstairs and Tiffany? I want somebody to answer the question for me. Has anyone in Romney's role ever said that China is a currency manipulator? That he will say on day number one that China is a currency manipulator? And what exactly will be the Chinese response? That's huge. Huge.
There's a lot of people talk about that, but we're someone in a
Nobody
big power
says
position.
That.
Yeah.
And what he said last night was, I will call them a currency manipulator day one.
So Obama comes back after that with, he's not going to be tough on China. He's going to be the least tough on China. He's got all these Chinese investments. He's invested in companies that invest in China. So now they've pushed it off to, he supposedly invests in companies that invest in China.
Okay.
So
Listen to
he
this.
calls him out on it, and it's fantastic. And the president tries to cut him off over and over and over because he doesn't want this discussion now.
And tries then, like a little girl,
Tries to get Candy Crowley in on it.
Runs for the girl on the playground to
Candy,
say, protect me.
Stop him.
Stop
him.
bully,
He's
bully,
hurting
bully.
me. He's hurting me. Candy, don't let him say this.
This is your president.
It's amazing.
Chinese investments and so forth.
Candy, hold on a second.
Mr. President, I'm still speaking.
I'm sorry.
Mr. President,
Stop. Play this.
Isn't that something?
Listen to you. He runs immediately to Candy Crowley.
Yeah.
Candy, this is, what is he doing here? And then when she doesn't help him right away, he only filibusters with, what is that?
As a matter of fact, not only does she not help him, and she does a good job with this, she says, yeah, go ahead. And Obama still cuts him off. Listen to this.
Chinese investments and so forth.
Candy, hold on a second.
Mr. President, I'm still speaking.
I'm sorry.
Mr. President, let me finish. I'm going to
Go ahead and
continue.
finish,
I'm going to
Governor
continue.
Romney. Governor Romney, if you can make it short. See all these people? They've been waiting for you. Could you
Just
make
going to
it
make
short?
a point. Any investments
Okay, so she allows him the time. Go ahead, but make it short.
I have over the last 8 years have been managed by a blind trust. And I understand they do include investments outside the United States.
Talk about honesty. And I understand they do include investments outside the United States, including China.
Including in Chinese companies. Mr. President, have you looked at your pension?
Candy,
Have you looked at your pension?
Candy?
I've got to say.
Mr. President, have you looked at your pension?
I don't look at my pension. It's not as big as yours, so it doesn't take as long.
Stop for a second. Now, this is where the average person, if you're a fan of one or the other, you might say, oh, my guy got a funny line in. Mm-mm. This is a rich man fight. There's no winner in this particular point right here, because most people are like, I am struggling to feed my family. And these two are arguing about their pensions. But then listen.
Let me give you some advice.
I don't check it that often.
Let me give you some advice. Look at your pension. You also have investments in Chinese companies. Yeah. You also have investments outside the United States. Yeah. You also have investments through a Cayman's trust.
We're sort of way off topic
Mr.
here,
President,
Governor Romney.
We're a little off topic.
Completely off the immigration.
I thought we were talking about immigration.
Okay,
Wow.
we're off talking, but listen to him.
Wow.
The only thing that Romney didn't do to bring it home was, and so does every American that invests in a 401k. Because anybody who is invested in any kind of mutual fund, they will have foreign investments. And that the teachers' unions are invested in China. Calipers is invested in China and foreign funds, all of them, Mr. President. You're hurting the average American. And what you're calling me, don't talk to me about the 47%, because about 80% has a 401k in this country. You are calling un-American about 80% of this nation.
Including yourself.
Including yourself.
Yeah.
So
And to go back to the point you made last hour, which was the emasculating, where Romney was emasculating, how about saying to the President of the United States, let me give you some advice. I mean, what? That's
so great.
I mean, that is
so
ballsy,
great.
man.
Oh, and he did it there a couple of times. Not only let me give you some advice, what he's saying is, let me school you on something.
Yeah. Oh,
okay,
yeah.
You're not smart enough. You don't have enough experience. Let me school you on something. And he's right. Beyond that, he also said, I'm not finished speaking. Nobody says that to President of the United States. No, this guy. Nobody says that.
And Obama tried to head him off at the pass umpteen times during that minute or so.
And you would not. And here's what anybody who's our age, if you're my age, you'll remember this. Nobody would have said that to Ronald Reagan, because Ronald Reagan would not have put himself in a position to be saying, Candy, can you, help, I'm a little girl, help. He wouldn't have done it. He wouldn't have handled it that way. Romney is emasculating him because Barack Obama, quite honestly, has not learned very much. Remember when he beat up that little girl, or he humiliated that little girl in the playground?
In his book, yeah.
When he talked about that in his book, where he was a bully on the playground? He hasn't changed. He never learned a lesson there. He still is. He still is. And if you'll look, Mitt Romney was only defending himself. Every time this is happening, it's because he can't take it anymore. Because Barack Obama has just lied about him or his policies. And every time that Mitt Romney says, Mr. President, that's not true. That's not true. He asks him, do you even know how many leases you've done? How many oil leases have you done?
We got to play that.
I mean, it's phenomenal.
Amazing.
And it's accurate. And he didn't even get into, I wish he would have, he didn't even get into, Mr. President, you stopped all oil leases. You stopped all of them in the Gulf, in the waters. You stopped them all. Our infrastructure left. It will take 10 years to get them back from the damage that you did. Please, Mr. President, don't talk to me about $1.87 gallon gasoline being a result of a collapsing economy. You're now saying to the American people, expect $4 gallon gasoline because things are getting good. Good God almighty, Mr. President. Most Americans think the economy is really bad. We have 25. How high is gas when we don't have 25 million Americans unemployed? How high is your gas? $8 a gallon? If he would have said that, knockout punch.
Yeah, he didn't necessarily nail that one in a debate, but that one strikes me as a really good one for ads later on.
Oh, my God.
Having the President of the United States saying that there's basically no way to have gas prices low unless your economy tanks is a gigantic admission. It's also not true at all.
At all.
But, I mean, when you talk about a guy who supposedly has an all-of-the-above energy policy, that's an admission right there that not only does he not have it, but whatever he does have can't possibly be successful. Not only is it not successful now, but it can't possibly be successful in the future.